connection's better than the DJI's Osmo app. It's so trash.
Well, that's because they usually don't make. Like, it just depends on the company itself. Sometimes they'll make it like a really good app. Sometimes they don't. It's up to them. But you in there, Mario? You do your thing. Yeah, no, this has a nice little lag here. But I'm gonna eat. I actually have to see what the sound is gonna be like once I finish this. So this is like a sound check. Like, if you want to do the podcast, you're probably going to need a bona fide space to always do it, right? But I was thinking the best way to do it consistently, and if you want to do it like weekly or bi-weekly or whatever, is to do a WeWork.
A WeWork?
Yeah, a WeWork.
A WeWork?
Yeah. Go into WeWork and then
everywhere.
they're everywhere, and you'll be able to do it like in one of their conference rooms.
Right.
So you can rent out a conference room, even when you have a membership. You could just rent out one of the conference rooms for whatever time that you're going to be there. And so if it's there, you could set it up. The other way is just going to YouTube. That would be free.
Right.
So, but
there are pros and cons.
Right. We'd have to always go to Roppongi every single time, but it is free.
It is free.
So
we got to see the rates for WeWork too.
Right. So we look at the rates for WeWork. And if it's not that much, or if we can get kind of like a group rate and say we're like kind of like a collective, that might be something that we can do. But at the end all be all, those are the two options that I think that are the most valid. If you want something that's consistent that you ain't got to worry about anything, almost certainly YouTube.
I'm not opposed to either way. Yeah. Honestly.
That way we can just do something and it will be. There's a couple of WeWorks. It just depends on where you want to go. But the closest one to all of us, I think, is Harajuku.
Yeah.
From my channel, people want to know all these obscure brands, but they don't know about them. So like if I tell them about like a particular brand, it's almost like, why should I watch this? So we kind of have to hook them with personalities, like stuff that they want to know about. One of the things that's been successful in the casual is whenever I talk about something that's more universal in the fashion industry, like why hypebeast ruined fashion or something like that, more people engage with that kind of content.
They know.
Right?
It's familiarity.
Right, it's familiar, they want to know why, they want to have a debate. So one of the things that I think is great is these conversational pieces, especially when you have more than like one person. You can have 2, 3, 4, and maybe even a guest.
Different perspectives, experiences and stuff.
So,
is it good though?
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind meat. I wish there was some pause.
Pause.
That is not going to be
That's gonna go in. That's gonna go in. Everything that, whatever you say, it's not going in. It's going. Pause.
Pause. Sorry about that. My man, he was fast with it. My brother's gonna get on me about that one too. He'll be like, "Yo, what did you just say while you was eating that hamburger?"
I don't like meat. I think the podcast should be dynamic. I mean, we all have different personalities. Everything can contribute their own, I guess, perspective on things. Right?
Yeah. And so the other thing is like, what do you talk about, right? You're doing a podcast, you do want something that's consistent. Right, so it shouldn't just be like flash in the pan, whatever's happening is happening. So people who come, they know what they're gonna get, right? And I honestly think that we can, if we work together, we can make it a really, really successful podcast, like bigger than usual. Like, some people start their podcast like 2,000 listeners. Through my network and your network, we can actually create a really, really big one. People are watching. And so it has to be something like consistent.
I think my demographic, at least, a lot of people want to see like my daily life as opposed to what kind of fashion stuff do I like. Mm-hmm. Like they want to see what's been going on in my life.
Skin routines.
Mm-hmm. Shit, like just small things like that. I think
workouts
will bring a lot more content and audience to the podcast. If we can not just include fashion topics, but like our individual personal lives, like what we like, and how our taste differs. Like, why does Reggie have like a cowhide kimono jacket? Why do you wear a pajama shirt? Shit like that.
I love that.
Yeah, just small things like that. Why do I always wear a hoodie? Why do you wear like certain this and that? I also think it's important to see like how our childhood experiences have shaped us to be who we are in terms of why we became so, I guess, involved in fashion. How we came to this point where we're doing a podcast with Reggie. Right? Shit like that. I think people relate to it. I think the reason why like I get the views that I have on YouTube is just like relatability.
Yeah.
People
Yeah, it is.
relate, it's like,
Super relatable.
same with podcasts too. I think if it's too forced, people kind of like shy away from it.
It gets really raw.
Yeah, I think
Really raw.
Really raw.
It gets raw in podcasts though.
what you talked about today too, about how virus would affect businesses and the
Right,
economy
right.
all around the world, would give so much information.
Right.
And I think that's a lot more. That brings a lot more substance than
Yeah.
clothes.
Yeah. Like before you started
What's
brand.
Bisbin making now? How
Right.
does Bisbin compare to Capital? I'm sure we're going to chime that in here and there, but like for the most part, we should talk about what's important now.
Right. Yeah, definitely the now.
Instead of just being fashion friends.
Yeah, I mean,
I hate that shit.
yeah.
Yo, so you in like a real life Vujade review right now? This hoodie's incredible. I ain't gonna lie. I like this. You guys should definitely check out Vujade. If you want like a dope hoodie, just plain up, plain, durable. Got the nice reverse stitching here. That's crazy. Yeah, reverse stitching there. You need that. Got the label in there. We don't got a drawstring on this, so it keeps it light. I like that. 2019, got the tag in there. That's really good. How is it, Ken? Tasty?
Meat is juicy.
Thick and juicy, just as you like
Pretty
it.
fucking juicy, not gonna lie.
Just keeps on saying it.
No pause.
No pause, wow. Look, comfortable with sexuality now. Finally.
I'm very confident with my sexuality here. Sorry. The meat is juicy, alright? That's all I can say.
Like moving away. Meat is juicy.
Nope. No, for real though, I think I feel like people got desensitized with like how accessible things are. So I think at this point, I think people chase after like exclusivity or something that's made from scratch, cut and sew is a big thing now. Upcycling is a big thing now. I think people are more being like conscious about the environment, trying to reduce the waste of clothing fabric. I think upcycling is actually going to be a big wave, right? So I don't know. I mean, fill in the gaps, right? It's like luxury is sort of dying in a sense.
Would you consider Off-White a luxury brand? What would you consider Off-White?
Off-White is, what I like to say is, what we say in Japanese, high brando. You're talking about brands like a Kowal, you're talking about brands like OEMC, but what does that actually mean? Because the problem with designer street fashion is so much based on trends, what's happening at the moment, that they could be gone in a flash. Like you say, like you used to wear Rude a lot.
I used to.
Right?
Yeah.
But you used to wear Rude because you liked that aesthetic at the time. But now you're like,
Kiko costed
yeah, you're like Kiko, you're like, so I think like what a lot of people as far as fashion is concerned, like once you get into it and you get into it like really a lot deeper, what ends up happening is that you automatically feel like the need to level up, right? Because when I was coming up, like I was big into like hundreds and stuff when I was younger. I actually wasn't that really big into like brands per se. I was more into like styling.
So you're always a silhouette guy.
Yeah, I was always that. So like looking at like colors, silhouette, and how things look when you wear them. So my first journey into it was literally taking my body type and picking the best clothes for that body type, right? And then after that, it was more so like trying to figure out silhouettes that I like and making them work for my body type, which is a much harder like endeavor because like I like a lot of the long like drapey stuff, and that's really, really difficult to do, especially when you're like 175 centimeters tall, right? So like you look at something like a Yohji Yamamoto and you love it, but you're like, man, if I'm not super skinny like Japanese, or if I'm shorter, it's not gonna look right. Because I think a lot of people, when they see like the Japanese stuff, I'm dropping stuff, when they see the Japanese stuff and they see like a shorter Japanese wearing like Yohji Yamamoto, they're forgetting like the body type for most Japanese is quite slim. And when you have a quite slim frame and you wear something that's drapey and long, it still looks like you're tall. Like it looks like you're still moving with that kind of fabric. So for me, just to go back to the original point, as far as like street fashion, designer street, high brand or luxury, I think we're in this, like what I was saying before in my last video about this, we're just in this area where the only people that these luxury brands are going to be able to engage with are people who have the money to pay for it, right? And that's why I said it's going to be like a circle jerk of rich people buying stuff, because anybody who's anybody right now, especially if like you're in the West and you're in the United States and you're losing your job, like these are, the people who are losing their job are like the parents and young millennials who are just getting started in their professional career, but maybe in the blue collar area. And they may have a kid, but they may have like this access money to maybe, give their kid like, oh, I'm gonna give you this shirt from this brand that you really, really wanted. Now they're not gonna have the luxury of doing it. Like their kid's gonna be asking them for stuff and they'll be like, yo, I cannot afford that. And so they're gonna go somewhere else. It's gonna suck because you're gonna have a lot of people who, I think on the street level, they're gonna go back to like that vintage kind of making their own kind of like thrifting. And I think that this moment is gonna exacerbate that, right? More and more people are gonna start thrifting. Like thrifting used to be like, was getting a wave. Now that wave is gonna be like freaking tidal wave, right? So that's just how I feel. And in a lot of ways that's a good thing.
I was speaking in terms of like community like ours. You know what I mean? We don't get enticed by looking at luxury pieces. We get more enticed by like a proper cut and sew clothing that works with your silhouette. And luxury brands not necessarily provide that. They provide logos, provide quality, and the price point is what attracts people, right? It's like the higher the price, it attracts more people to want it. And I think that phase is kind of over, especially in our circle. For me, it's like no matter how fire the clothes are, I need to be able to resonate with the person who designs their clothes. Like I don't just look at clothes as clothes, it's about the representation behind the clothes, right? I feel like that's some of the reasons why I think a lot of my clothes sell well is because they watch my YouTube, right? It's like they can relate and they can kind of resonate with, I'm just an average guy in Tokyo trying to make it somehow, and I don't know, I think that's the person who represents the brand is also an important factor for where the fashion industry is shifting. But like you said, thrifting and vintage, I think people are being more conscious about what they buy because we have all the resources to do our research and we have the access to all these like different webs of things. Why not fucking thrift the same exact clothing Louis Vuitton sells for like $5, $10, right? I don't know. That's my 2 cents. Right? But support your local businesses though, especially now. Very important. I think Noah put a really important message on Instagram saying that we're being taken over by altruism and we don't think about the butterfly effect that this virus is creating. It's not just people getting sick, it's businesses getting sick too. It's like all these mom and pop stores are closing down. Local businesses, small shops that are thriving to grow and prosper at this time is shutting down because people aren't buying shit anymore. And they encourage everyone to buy something. It doesn't have to be like something expensive or luxury. It should be more tailored towards people that needs that capital to survive at this time. And Noah basically was like, just buy anything, try to buy something from your local businesses, support your small mom and pop store so that they can thrive after this virus blows over. I think that was a very important message. I think that should be the way everything should be calibrated after the virus. Just supporting your friends, your family, your small businesses. I think that's very important. But that's what I mean by how luxury is dying. It's our perspective of like buying experience. It's like we cater towards like your friends, your family, and people that you may know but are just starting to blow up. I think it's just the relatability, I guess, between the buyer and the seller. So I don't know.